All right, ladies and gents, today we're going to take a look at the 2020 Hyundai Palisades that I took in on trade over the weekend. Again, to refresh your memory, my customer traded this in for a brand new Chevrolet Tahoe Z71. They basically needed something with more space for their family and their cargo and all the things that they use the vehicle for. Now, for this video, I also pulled up a 2021 Chevy Traverse. I don't have a 2020 on the lot at the moment, but the 21 and the 20 are the same. The reason I pulled this up is these are direct competitors. I mean, they're direct competitors as far as like size and style of vehicle. I don't know what's higher. Is a Kia Telluride like a Chevrolet Traverse, and then the Hyundai Palisades would be like the Buick Enclave? Like, is there a hierarchy between Kia and Hyundai? Maybe somebody can answer that in the comments. We obviously don't have a Telluride here, or I don't have a Buick Enclave here. So again, we're just comparing the Traverse with the comparable Palisades. And really the focus of this video is going to be to look at the Palisades and just kind of get my impressions on it. But I want to mention a couple quick things. So Palisades comes with a 3.8 liter V6, 290 horsepower. The Traverse, a 3.6 liter V6 with 310 horsepower. So that's a win for the Traverse. The Palisades has an 8-speed automatic, whereas the Traverse has a 9-speed automatic. I look at that and I see that as a win. The fuel economy on the Palisades is 19 in the city, 26 on the highway, whereas the Traverse is 18 in the city, 27 on the highway. So we're going to call that a wash. And you know, depending on how you drive, you should get, you know, equivalent gas mileage out of either one of these vehicles. I do want to also mention that both of these vehicles can tow up to 5,000 pounds, but the Traverse does it much nicer. If the Traverse has the towing package with the trailer hitch, this panel would come off and your 2-inch receiver will be behind this panel. So when you're not using the trailer hitch, you can just pop that on and it cleans up and gives you a nice look to the rear bumper. On the Palisades, not so much. Now, this might be an aftermarket installed hitch, but the way the bumper is set up, I don't see any kind of a plate or anything that would have been removed if it was factory. As you can see, the hitch, very low, very exposed underneath the car. And it just, you know, it just doesn't look as nice. While we're by the back of the vehicles here too, because I lined these up nose to nose, you could also see that the Traverse is definitely much bigger. It's taller, it's longer, and that would explain why the Traverse has more cargo space when compared to the Palisades. And then I'm going to use myself as an example to kind of show you how at 6'5" I fit in the seats in the Palisades. We're going to use that as a guide, because when I sit in the Traverse, like even in the third row, my knees don't hit the seat, my head doesn't hit the ceiling. So we're going to use myself as the comparison versus actual dimensions. And just to further point that out, if you look here in the back of the Traverse, you'll see you have a great amount of cargo space behind the third row with the third row up. You can kind of see how far the seat is from the back of the vehicle. Again, the Traverse is longer and taller than the Palisades. So when we go here, again, you can just tell by eye that there's less cargo space back here. The seat comes much closer to the back of the vehicle. So, you know, the Chevy Traverse gets the win on cargo space and stuff like that. And that's all I really wanted to do as far as showing you some of the comparisons with the Traverse. I'm gonna park this back on the lot and then we're gonna focus, you know, solely on the Hyundai Palisades and get my impressions of it. One thing you will notice when we look at the Palisades, that as far as like the screens on the inside, it definitely looks more advanced and more updated than our Traverse did back in 2021, or 2020 I should say. You know, we have an 8-inch screen here, we have a separate driver information center. You'll notice in the Hyundai, it's got a real nice layout, sort of what our new 2024 Chevy Traverse will look like. And that's sort of the way the car industry goes, right? One company, like in 2018, we updated our Traverse and it remained the same all the way up until the 2024 model. This one came out 2 years after our update, so it had some more, you know, more technologies and more advancements to it as a newer vehicle. Once we update to our 2024 Traverse, we'll see how the Palisades can stand up. You know, it might be slightly behind in certain areas, but then they'll update that, and it's just a constant back and forth as, you know, these manufacturers update and refresh their vehicles. So at first glance, what I know is this is a limited trim, right? So it's a higher up level. You can tell that by, for instance, like the body color accents around the wheels, things like that. Our Traverse high level has that as well. I'm assuming that the lower model of the Palisades, that might actually be black plastics and stuff like that. I think the front end looks good. It's got LED lights, LED turn signals you can see there blinking, big bold grille in the front, which most manufacturers do these days. You know, it's a sleek look, and when the lights are on and all these LEDs are lit, it does look nice. It looks pretty sharp. I even like how they integrated the turn signals into the mirrors here as well, which looks pretty cool. A little hard to see during the day, but nice little touch. On this particular trim, you have like brushed aluminum door handles, brushed aluminum roof rack, even your accents on your lower rocker panels there. Blends in with the wheels, you know, very nicely. So, you know, definitely a sharp looking vehicle, a luxurious looking vehicle. Around back here, you'll have similar accents on each side of the taillights with that brushed aluminum trim. Big Hyundai badge in the middle there, and that Palisades nameplate. So I think we can agree, like the exterior of the truck, it looks nice. You know, it's a matter of preference, but it definitely holds its own in the lineup of competitors. Inside, however, is a little different. You know, inside here, it may actually be a step above, especially for 2020. There are some things I noticed. Like, for instance, your pillars here, they do have like that Alcantara type material. The whole headliner is that Alcantara type material, which is, you know, definitely a premium product. You do see that you have the two sunroofs, the first sunroof here and then a skylight in the back up over our head. And then look at the detail in the seats. Like, they're perforated seats. A lot of patterns to it. You know, they have stitching in the seat like most cars do, and sort of different patches of material depending on what part of the seat. But like the door panels here, like this actually does look real sharp. They have some, it's not piano black, but it's almost like it's a dark gray, sort of like a textured pattern. It's not textured, it's smooth, but it looks textured. And then you have down here your whole center console, which is like a little silver diamond plate. And then big screens. Again, we'll have this for 2024 in the Traverse. Hyundai was ahead of the game back in 2020 with that. We'll start with this screen in front of us. Obviously, you have your speedometer on the left, tachometer on the right, and in the middle, you have a page button here on the steering wheel that you can press. That's going to give you different functions, and then you have your up and down arrows. So in that right-hand pod, you'll have your drive mode, your tire pressures, you know, different things like that. You could also move that to the center, I think right here. So now you can see those same functions, fuel economy, you know, all sorts of stuff. So like most cars have, with Chevy, we call it the driver information center. Buttons on the steering wheel, very easy to see, easy to look at. And then here you have your full touchscreen radio. It is surrounded by some piano black, so it gives you the illusion that it's a full screen, even though it's a smaller portion on the inside. Still a very nice size. It's all touch from what I've been noticing, so it's very easy to operate and use. You can swipe over to your icons where you'll see like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Blue Link, your phone, you know, so it's all different things that you can kind of go and customize and set up based on how you want to use the vehicle. And then you have some hard controls here on the bottom where you can go to your map or your nav settings, like how to set up destinations, your radio, you know, right with these hard keys here. So very similar to Chevrolet. I'm a big fan of a touchscreen. You know, I really think other than doing voice controls, the touchscreen is the easiest way to go, rather than having some sort of like a trackpad or some sort of a wheel that you have to manipulate to change the screen. I think most cars these days are probably going to touchscreen, you know, but it's just something you have to check when you get in the car. The console here is very opened up. This armrest is in a nice spot. You know, it's a comfortable seating position. You do have no actual shifter. You know, you have an electronic control here where you have push buttons for drive, reverse, park, and neutral. You have an auto hold, and then you have your controls for your different programs, your sport mode, comfort mode, eco, snow, and all-wheel drive. So, you know, again, very easy to use. It's in a good spot. And then right above that, you have your climate controls where you have driver, passenger, hot and cold, fan speed. Super easy to use, laid out very nicely. So I will say, being that this is the first time I'm actually in a Palisades since this car came out, we've never had one here, I've never been in one. It's very easy to kind of go around, which I'm pretty much doing live as I'm filming here, and find the buttons that you want and the options that you need. Just like here, you have your ventilated seats, your heated seat, heated wheel, and then your passengers heated and ventilated seats. Underneath this door here, cup holders, wireless charging pad, and then a storage center, nice and big. It's pretty deep down there. You got a couple power plugs, and then you have your standard glove box, like, you know, pretty much every car is going to have. So it is laid out nicely. I like the fact that the dash seems a little lower, and it is more of a horizontal format versus the cars that go vertical. I like the horizontal look better. That's sort of what General Motors has done, you know, recently as well. So in the driver's seat, or being a driver of this vehicle, I would basically have my seat, you know, kind of set up here for my personal comfort. This does have a tilting telescopic wheel, so you can get yourself nice and comfortable in here. But the big test is going to be, can I fit in the second row and then in the third row like I can in the Chevy Traverse? So I'm sitting here in the back seat. It's a comfortable seat. This seat does recline, so if there's nobody in that third row, you can get nice and comfortable there. It does go forward and back. I'm gonna put it pretty much there where my knees are not touching the seat, but the seat is where I was just comfortable. You'll see that you have ventilated seats in the back, which is a nice touch, as well as heat, temperature controls, and then a couple of power outlets there. So your passengers in the back will be comfortable. And if you also look, you'll see that the seats, the patterns that are on the seats and on the door panels do match the front. So they pulled it all the way through the vehicle, even onto that back third row there. You'll see you have the same type of trim. You have armrests on the side of your seats for your second row buckets. And then this is actually a very nice touch. We do not have this in the Chevy Traverse, but you actually have window shades here, which you can pull up for, you know, little extra privacy and or shade from the sun. Hyundai, nice touch. Now for the third row test, can I fit? So this is your third row seat. This is a 3-passenger third row because I see 3 seatbelt latches here. Now, I don't know who's this big. You know, this is probably like a 4-inch person. So is it a functional 3-row seat? I'm not too sure. They do have what a lot of people would like, which is a center whiplash protector there with the headrest. The Traverse doesn't currently have that, but the new 2024 redesign will. So, you know, Chevrolet's been listening because people have been asking for that. But to be honest, I mean, unless you had 3 small children back here, I don't know who's gonna sit here and actually be comfortable. But, you know, for argument's sake, it is a 3-passenger third row. Now, I am 6'5", right? I'm a tall guy. So for me, you know, a third row, I probably don't belong back here, but I do fit in the Tahoe, the Suburban, the Traverse. So I always try to point it out. Now, a lot of this is going to depend on the adjustability of the second row. So it really depends on where you put what people in the car. Because for instance, I was just driving, then I was comfortably sitting here. And as you can see in the third row, I can't fit behind the seat here at all. But if I move the second row seat to the furthest forward position that's still locked in place, I can fit. So if I slide over to this side, you'll see that my knees are not really scraping the chair. They're just right on it, essentially. And my head is, I mean, my hair is hitting the ceiling. So, you know, the Traverse, again, it's a bigger vehicle, so there is more room in the third row. But if I had to sit back here, depending on how you had your passengers, you know, anybody 6'5" or shorter, they can make it work. This does also have a nice convenient button here where you can actually, oh, this is for the seat that I'm in. Oh, this reclines. Oh, all right, we got more headroom. This seat actually reclines a little bit as well. This here would be the button to slide this seat forward to get back out of the third row. Now, you can only recline that third row seat if you don't have cargo back here. So, ow, this is not high enough. I hit my head. Oh, there we go. This is what it looked like with that seat reclined a little bit, which actually does help when you're sitting in the seat. It would limit how much cargo space you have. But that's, again, depending on how your passengers and cargo are situated. Here you'll see you can fold the second row seats down from here so we can drop them flat. I guess the headrest hit the other seat, so they didn't go all the way flat. And then here you can drop the third row for both the left and right side. Slowly they go down, but they do end up going down. Now you have a nice big cargo area if you don't have passengers, but you gotta put whatever you bought from Home Depot or Best Buy or something like that in the car. In conclusion, I think the Palisades is a nice vehicle. You know, this is, again, a 2020. I don't know how much they changed going into 2024. It's definitely a good competitor to the Traverse. Our new Traverse, I think, is going to then surpass this as far as like the screens and a lot of the things that are in this vehicle that were, you know, maybe quite frankly a little bit before their time when compared to the Traverse other competitors. Where the Traverse really shines, and I think why the Traverse still and has always currently outsold the Palisades, is the size. For years, since the 2009 Traverse has come out, it's always been a vehicle that when you compared it to the Honda Pilot, to the Toyota Highlander, to the Ford Explorer, to the Palisades, the Telluride, it's a little bit of a bigger vehicle, or always was a little bit of a bigger vehicle. And because of that, it's always been a little bit easier for me to sell it against those competitors, because if you need something, because you need a third row and you need the cargo space, you know, it's something that the size does in effect matter at that point. Now, this vehicle will go through our shop, it'll go through detail, and it will end up on our used car lot. So if you're interested and you live in the New Jersey area, by all means, reach out. I'll put my email on the screen here. Definitely ask for me, Dave B. I'd be happy to assist you with a used car or a new car purchase.